How to live to your full potential. Welcome to the day 5 of the 10-day series of how to live your hero's journey. Hi, this is Paisute here. I've lived through a multiple hero's journey from migrating to a country that I'd never been before to become a registered pharmacist. Then I founded a startup that connect people through the love of food without any industry or business experience. And I authored a philosophical book on life meditations on 30 of life's biggest questions, and I'm also a coach. In order for you to answer your call to adventure in your own hero's journey, you must first know what's your unique strength and what path to take. I've created a very simple step by step guide of unique discovery process, which you can download for free on my website at www.pheh-sze-teh.com, or you can check it at the link down below. Thank you for joining me today. And today is 5 days of we're halfway through of the 10 days marathon. And I'm glad that I'm building consistency as I go as well. And thank you for joining me throughout this journey. If you're listening this live, say hi and tell me where you come from. Okay, let's delve right in. So, what does it mean to live to your full potential? When we are born with natural gift and talent, but how far we reach the potential is dependent on many factors. So, just for example, like an oak tree, you can imagine a big oak tree. It's hard to imagine it actually came from a small seed. I took up gardening recently, and it's just amazing to see how you can grow something from seed and see it become a full-fledged plant, for example. So, what do you need to do in order to fulfill your full potential? First, you have to be devoted to the process. So, what do I mean by that? If you always wanted to be an author, the goal shouldn't be to become the bestseller author on the top selling list, for example. That is a byproduct, that is a result from what you do day in and out. If you want to become an author, all you need to do is to write. But whether you become successful or not, that is beyond your control. So you have to be devoted to the process. If you want to be an athlete, then you have to practice on a daily basis. If you want to be a content creator, you have to create on a consistent basis. So depending what that you really wanted to do or what your dream is, you have to be devoted to the process and not the goal. And that's how you know you're going towards the right direction. Because at the end of the day, that's the journey that counts. And the second way is to look for purpose and not for financial freedom, especially if you want to become an entrepreneur or to create your own business. Many people think that one of the easiest or quickest way to become rich is to become an entrepreneur or own your own business. In fact, it is one of the hardest route to take. You have to put in many hours and many sacrifices to make things work. But if you're doing it in the right direction with the right purpose, then you can be persistent and resilient when you're met with the obstacles and trials along the way. As Steve Jobs said in one of the interview, you got to be crazy to want to become an entrepreneur. So depending what is it that you want to do. So for example, if you want to be a tennis player, your dream is that you actually like to play tennis, but not because you want to get money from playing. Of course, that is the byproduct from the value that you add to the world. So it's important that you always do something with some sort of purpose. Even though the outcome may not be what you really anticipate, at least you feel fulfilled along the way that you're doing something of value and something that you really care for. And you will find that if you do something that you really care for, people can see the value that you offer, and eventually the profit will come. And it is really an ideal situation, of course, to marry the two, your purpose, your passion, and also as your income stream. All of us have to earn a living. With many success stories to become where they are, they have to earn a living as something else or fulfill different multiple jobs in order to fulfill their dream. That doesn't mean if you have a dream, you forego everything else and don't create a safety net for yourself and just pursue the dream. I think that's quite irresponsible. So don't make it as the goal to get a financial freedom. That is a secondary effect and it is a byproduct. And then we come to the third way of how to fulfill or live to your full potential is to know thyself. By knowing yourself, you put yourself in the right environment. For example, just like the plant, every plant have an ideal environment where they can grow to the fullest or where they can reach to a fruitation stage, for example. And you have to put the right fertilizer, the right amount of water as well, the right amount of sunlight so that they can grow to be the oak tree that it was meant to be. And I experienced this firsthand when I was growing my first tulip from bulb. I put a different plant in a different position, and some of them grow up really stunted, and it doesn't look like a full-fledged tulip plant. And but for example, some of the tulip plant I put in a different position, different sunlight condition, and they grew and flower, and it's magnificent. And that's what it means by knowing yourself. You put yourself in the right environment. You can find all these clues, especially in your early days or in your childhood, for example. What are you naturally inclined to do, or what is the things that makes you go into the flow state? I remember when I was 12 years old, we are supposed to write a diary of what we do in a day in one of the assignments in the school. Just imagine if you're 12-year old, what are you going to write? Most likely you're going to talk about what you did with your family and the things that you do with your friends. But instead, I wrote, what is the meaning of life? Am I meant to go to school, graduate, go to university, get a job, have a family, and that's it? That's what all life is all about. So it's a no surprise that later on in my life that I wrote a book on philosophy. And then another clue is when I was in high school, I used to organize so many events. And I created the event from scratch. And of course, I'm building up a team. And the funny thing is, later in life, my first business is about connecting people through love of food. And if I think back, I've been doing that since high school. So it's no different what I'm doing today than what I used to do. So it's a matter of discovering what is it that you're naturally good at. Because I learned it the hard way is talent can only bring you to a certain stage. And it gives you a kickstart in a race, for example. But at the end of the day, it's your commitment and your dedication to the process that determines how far you will go in the race. But first, to put yourself in the right direction is to discover what you're naturally good at. I believe my philosophy in life is the path of least resistance. Life is difficult enough. So don't make your life harder by doing something you're not naturally good at. Find something that you're naturally good at and then build from there to gain mastery, for example. And of course, you do work on your weakness as well. But I think focusing on your strength is the best strategy to choose in, especially in the beginning, to give you the kickstart and the confidence to do it again and again. So, which of the three do you find that the tips to find the most valuable? Please let me know. So, next week, we are going to continue another 5 day series. And the next topic is going to be why you need to know yourself. So, I'm here for the next few minutes if you have any questions to ask me, or you can always leave some comment down below and I'll reply to them when I can. Thank you for joining me as part of the 10-day series. It has been an interesting and insightful process for myself too. I hope that you find today's episode useful. And just as a reminder, your free guide, you can download that on my website or at the link below. Until I see you at the next episode, live a life worth writing about. I'll see you next week at the same time. Have a good weekend.